The truth about what lies hidden beneath this tranquil farmhouse has never been fully revealed until now. Buried deep underground, sealed away in a secret chamber, is the world's largest unexploded bomb. Should it ever detonate, the resulting blast would obliterate the farm, rupture the nearby road, and kill anyone unfortunate enough to be caught within its deadly radius. No one who lived and worked here suspected anything like this. The farmer, whose family may have tilled these fields for generations, had no idea he was living above a sleeping giant. Only recently did researchers unearth old military records and maps that precisely pinpointed the location of a massive cache of explosives, 25 tons, sealed behind a tunnel nearly 70 feet below the Earth's surface. Why this unimaginable quantity of explosives ended up here, and how it remained forgotten for so long, is a remarkable story. It is a legacy of humankind's relentless and at times horrifying pursuit of the ultimate explosion. For more than 1,000 years, both in times of peace and war, human civilizations refined the deadly science of explosives. The technology of destruction advanced more rapidly than almost any other field, increasing explosive power 100,000-fold within half a century. These developments culminated in some of the largest man-made blasts in human history, culminating ultimately in the atomic bomb. Only celestial events, such as meteor and asteroid impacts, have unleashed greater energies. The nuclear bomb, harnessing the minuscule yet ferocious power of the atom, forever altered the geopolitical landscape and the course of human history. Even today, despite the shadow cast by nuclear weapons, conventional explosives, from ancient gunpowder to modern TNT, remain formidable instruments of destruction, widely deployed and still potent. How exactly do these explosives work and maintain their lethality over time? We will explore how some explosives are triggered by impact, others by heat, and how even decades of burial do not necessarily diminish their deadly potential. We will travel deep underground to find vivid proof that explosives, abandoned and forgotten for more than a century, still hold within them the raw power to devastate lives. The small Belgian town of Messines stands as a silent witness to humanity's capacity for violence. During the First World War, it became the stage for an unprecedented demonstration of explosive force. Today, giant craters, now filled with rainwater, mark the aftermath of that singular act of war. In 1917, 1 million pounds of explosives were packed into secret underground chambers and detonated simultaneously without warning. In just 30 appalling seconds, 10,000 unsuspecting soldiers lost their lives, making it one of the bloodiest half-minutes ever recorded in the annals of warfare. Never before had so much explosive material been concentrated in so small an area for a single event. By 1916, World War I had devolved into a brutal stalemate. The Western Front was locked in a deadly embrace, with each side's trenches facing the others, and neither able to make significant progress. Messines Ridge, a strategic high ground dominating the flat Belgian plains, became a vital objective for the British. Positioned below and forced to charge uphill under relentless German fire, British troops suffered catastrophic losses. Desperate for any advantage, British military engineers returned to a technique as old as siege warfare itself, tunneling beneath the enemy lines, then using explosives to shatter their defences from below. A new kind of warrior emerged under the Western Front, miners and sappers, armed not with guns, but with pickaxes, shovels, and incredible resolve. The British plan was audacious. A warren of tunnels would be dug under the German trenches. At their furthest extents, hidden chambers would be filled with an explosive called ammonal. 40,000 sacks, each weighing 25 pounds, would be painstakingly hauled underground. In total, 1 million pounds of explosives would lie in wait, right under the German army's strongest positions. The chosen explosive, ammonal, had a powerful lifting capability, ideal for creating vast upheavals of earth, essentially engineering an artificial earthquake. Ammonal was 3 times as powerful as gunpowder. Even a small demonstration charge of a few kilograms can hurl debris hundreds of feet into the air. Scaled up thousands of times, the British hoped this single coordinated blast would annihilate the German defenders, fracture their morale, and allow their own troops to surge forward. But such a grand scheme had to be concealed from vigilant German reconnaissance. More than 50,000 men worked on the tunnels, extracting tens of thousands of tons of a distinctive blue clay. This telltale material might have revealed their plans if carelessly discarded. Instead, it was hidden under cover of night, secreted in shell craters, filled into abandoned dugouts, and scattered inconspicuously across a devastated landscape. Every grain of soil had to vanish from enemy view. By June 1917, the mines were ready. 19 giant mine chambers had been filled, and over 100,000 British troops assembled, awaiting the fateful moment. On June 7th, at precisely 3:10 a.m., 19 colossal mines detonated as one. The crest of Messines Ridge erupted like a volcano, fire and earth soaring skyward. 10,000 German soldiers were killed in that instant. Within hours, the British seized their long-desired objective. It was a staggering, if grisly, success. But no one asked, had all the mines gone off? In the chaos of war, a handful of mines went unexploded. Decades passed. Then, in a sultry summer of 1955, a violent thunderstorm broke over the Belgian countryside. Lightning struck a quiet field near Messines. Suddenly, a tremendous blast shook the area, carving out a new crater 60 feet deep and 200 feet across. It was one of the forgotten mines, awakened after nearly 40 years by a random lightning strike. Astonishingly, no one was hurt. The villagers assumed this was an unimaginable fluke. Recently, however, careful study of old records and battle plans revealed an unsettling truth. Not just 2, but 4 or possibly more mines remained buried, armed, and dangerous. One had already proven that its power endured. 3 others, including one believed to hold an astonishing 25 tons of explosives, remain intact, waiting silently beneath farmland. The largest is beneath a farmhouse known as Petite Douve. If triggered, it would annihilate the farm and nearby structures. To this day, it lies there, a century-old instrument of destruction that could still unleash devastation. The First World War revolutionized the scale of killing through explosives. Ammonal and TNT, introduced and perfected during this conflict, paved the way for industrialized warfare. But these breakthroughs came at a grave cost. 6 months after Messines, the insatiable demand for TNT led to an even greater accidental explosion halfway around the globe. Halifax, Nova Scotia, on Canada's eastern coast, served as a crucial port, shipping war materials, including explosives, to Europe. On December 6, 1917, the French steamer Mont Blanc, heavily loaded with explosives, 2.9 kilotons in total, collided with another vessel in the crowded harbour. TNT, a stable secondary explosive, withstood the initial impact, but leaking benzol fuel ignited and burned for 15 terrifying minutes as the drifting burning ship approached the city's crowded shoreline. Thousands of curious residents watched from a safe-seeming distance, unaware that they were witnessing the prelude to catastrophe. Finally, artillery shells aboard Mont Blanc detonated the TNT, unleashing a cataclysmic blast that flattened much of Halifax, killing around 2,000 people and scarring the city forever. Halifax became a grim case study, later examined by scientists racing to master nuclear physics during the Second World War. By 1945, in a remote New Mexico desert, the first atomic bomb was tested. Studying disasters like Halifax and another massive accidental explosion at Port Chicago in California's San Francisco Bay, American physicists and strategists learned how blast waves behave, how detonations might be optimized by setting bombs to explode high above the ground, and how landscapes and buildings influence shockwaves. These hard-won lessons influenced the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where atomic bombs were detonated at specific altitudes to maximize destruction. Over 140,000 died in Hiroshima alone, pushing Japan to surrender and ushering in the nuclear age. But the drive for ever more powerful bombs did not stop there. The Cold War spurred the United States and the Soviet Union to compete in building even bigger thermonuclear devices. In 1961, the Soviets tested the Tsar bomber, a monstrous hydrogen bomb equivalent to 58 million tons of TNT, 10 times all the explosives used in World War II combined. Its shockwaves circled the globe multiple times. After this ultimate demonstration of explosive might, both superpowers realized they were playing with fire on a planetary scale. In 1963, an international treaty banned nuclear tests in the atmosphere, underwater and in outer space. The era of bigger and bigger bombs had ended, at least in terms of open testing. Yet history's buried munitions persist, haunting old battlefields and farmland. Although the Messines blast of 1917 pales beside later nuclear detonations, its legacy is more immediate and personal. While hydrogen bombs remain political abstractions, the unexploded mines beneath Belgian soil present a tangible threat to everyday life. Experts believe the tunnel floors have collapsed and flooded with groundwater, which may have helped preserve the explosives by creating an oxygen-free environment. Over a century later, ammonal could still be viable. The detonators might be unstable, more sensitive and prone to ignition by something as random as a lightning strike, just as happened in 1955. What does one do, living above a century-old bomb? For the farmer atop Petite Douve farm, the reality is unsettling, but offers few practical options. Removing the explosives would be extraordinarily dangerous and complex. For now, life goes on much as it always has, albeit with a silent, hidden menace lurking below. Reminders of war's folly and man's search for the ultimate explosion abound in this part of Europe. At Messines, where the German victims are buried, headstones and plaques record how effectively explosives extinguished thousands of lives in seconds. The mines themselves, now legendary among historians and bomb disposal experts, remain an enduring puzzle, a question mark from the First World War buried in Belgian clay. Will these ancient bombs remain silent forever, or will fate repeat itself, triggering another catastrophic event decades or centuries from now? History is filled with such unanswered questions. The ultimate lesson is clear. As we strove for ever greater destructive power, we left behind deadly artifacts that persist long after the treaties are signed and the armies have departed. The bombs remain, silently attesting that, when it comes to the pursuit of ultimate explosions, the echoes of our past choices can reverberate endlessly into the future.